What's up, friends and family? Welcome back to another episode of the Highly Emotional Podcast. Today, I have a special guest. She is an entrepreneur just like myself. She is a creative, and she is my co-host today, Sara G.
What up, what up, what up?
What's good?
I'm excited.
Let me make sure everything's right. So yeah, guys, I got her. We're gonna give you guys like it's like a 2-episode segment. We're gonna do one on my platform and then one on her platform, and we're gonna bring it all together. So I'm just I want to say thank you for coming to my podcast. We can do it like this. I don't know. I feel more comfortable like looking at somebody,
face,
right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, I gotta look at the camera.
Yeah.
So anyways, how's your day going?
It's going. So I talked to you briefly about this from like on day 26.
Pick up the mic for me.
Here.
Yeah, there you
Boom.
go. Yeah.
So I'm on day 26 of something called the Hard 75,
Facts.
which you've done before.
Yes.
This is my third time doing it. I feel good. I feel like I'm like locking in. It's that like shift of like, oh, I'm about to really charge up.
Yeah, so I actually did the 75 hard a couple months before my birthday in February, and I had lost like 35 pounds, and I did it. And it was one of the hardest things, but easiest things that I had to do. And I want to say, like, I'm a type of person, if I commit to something, I'm going to get it done.
Yep.
And it was great. Like, I read a bunch of books, was working out twice a day. I lost all the weight, drinking a gallon of water. I even followed a diet. But I will say this. Afterwards, I reverted back to my old ways. That's where I'm at now.
Okay.
And the thing about the 75 hard is so beautiful because it shows you what you're willing to do for yourself, right? To have that discipline. That was one of my goals this year, is to be more disciplined for myself. I want to be a more structured man, a more structured father, a more structured me.
Yeah.
Right. And so I did it. I completed it, you know. But afterwards, like I said, I'm now February, March, April, May, June, July, August, right?
Yep.
6 months later, I'm back to close to where I was. And so right now I'm going through something which is, I've been through it before, you've been through it, shadow work, right? And I can tell that it's shadow work because now my spirit is telling me, all right, look, you done got sexy and dropped that weight. You seen what you could do, but now let me show you why you always get back to this spot. This complacent spot, this place of being lazy. Like right now, even like my spirit told me, you're not getting no haircut. You're not going to shave. You barely going to get your hair done. You barely going to go out and get fresh for all these interviews and do all this and da-da-da. And I'm like, why? Why? I love doing that because you need to know so that you don't keep coming back to the same spot, right? And I'm like, why am I back to the same spot? Why do I keep on going to this stage after I accomplished something so powerful? And Spirit has told me, because you are addicted to being miserable. You're addicted to being worthless. All the addictions that we have in our life is the reason why is because we're addicted to being worthless. It started from your parents talking to you like shit. It started from accepting bullshit in relationships, friendships, even bullshit and disrespect from yourself. And you didn't fell in love with it. You're addicted to it. So now where I'm at, like I said, I feel like shit. I love myself.
Yeah.
But I'm going to sit with this emotion. I'm going to sit with this feeling because I remember what it felt like and it looked like. I could show you pictures what I looked like in February. But now I got to look myself in the mirror and say, hey, you beautiful even when you're chubby. But you have to figure out, why do you keep on doing this and how to get yourself out of it? So now I done figured out, okay, I'm in love with being worthless. I done figured out that I'm in love with feeling like shit. So that was my thing. I was like, okay, so you said you did it 3 times. I did it 1 time.
So going to your point of like getting back to the same spot, I have this thing that I like to tell myself, and I'll probably get it tatted on me, but it's, I say all the time, like, remember that you can forget. Because it's like we work to get to a place that we had envisioned prior to, like being in a different place. Yeah. We get there, and then it's like we get so comfortable and we're so like, we feel good. We forget that it's I forget sometimes, that it's constant work. Like the personal journey of growth, the spiritual evolution, elevation, like is a daily practice. So it's like I'm doing the Hard 75 because there's this quote that's called, it says that freedom is the highest form of discipline. And when you really break that down, it's like, okay, it seems like it's like the opposite, but it's true. In order to have freedom in your life, you have to have discipline over yourself, over your actions. So like you were saying, like, you feel like you are addicted to being in this state of feeling like shit.
Yeah, worthlessness.
But it's like, the loop, like we are in loops. Everybody goes through a loop.
Agreed.
Right? Until you can see that you're in the loop, you can't break that. And even when you see that you're in it, like it takes a lot of energy to get out of that if you want better. So it's like you're in a good place to where you see the issue, you know that it's something that can be addressed and that you know it's within you. Like you have whatever you need to be able to figure it out. We all do, you know?
Yeah, so that's one of my things is I've actually learned how to like, man, this is gonna sound so crazy to some people, but I've learned how to glitch out the matrix. And the way that I glitch out the matrix is learning how to move through life loosely, right? And I have physical attachments to obviously like, you know, my children, my wife and stuff like that. But anything outside of what I normally say is I say that we're like planets. Every time that we link up, it's when we're orbiting each other. And then whenever you gain what you need to gain from me and I gain from you, then we, you know, go about our ways. And then when it comes back around, we come back to it, right? So my planet is my family. And so I have attachment to my family, but outside of that, I've learned how to be detached. So anything that I do, like me and you can have a disagreement outside. I don't care about it anymore. I stopped caring because I realized that once we're done orbiting each other, you no longer exist. You no longer are a piece of my reality. You're in your own reality. Does that make sense?
I say this all the time. Like we are our own individual worlds, right? You have your world, I have my world. And when we come together, we create a world of our own. And it's like, that's why we can be existing on the same place, but having two completely different experiences.
Two completely different ones.
And what's crazy is like, you know, people be snitching on themselves, right? Like when you both experience something and they or you see it from a different way that might be negative. It's like, it's how you interpret, right? So there's something called the reticular activating system, right?
Okay.
And it's a collection of neurons that we all have,
Give
right?
me hip.
I'm gonna put you on game, right? So this is literally the science of manifestation. Okay. So it's a collection of neurons that's responsible for 4 of our 5 senses, which is everything except for your olfactory sense. So your sight, your hearing, your touch, and I'm missing one more. Touch, taste, it's not responsible for smell, but the other one I'm missing. But there's 5. Okay, so it's responsible for majority of how we perceive the world. So the job of this, the function of this is to prove true to you what you believe, right? So there's so much data that's happening around us at all time, like millions of bits of information, but we are only able to make sense of a very small piece of that. Absolutely. So it's like that example you hear all the time, like when you're about to buy a car and you want a specific make and model, you start seeing that car everywhere, right? And it's not that they just started popping up. It's that's where your attention is tuned to.
Sensatory,
Right. So it's like, why, like in the morning, it's so important to wake up, set your intention, and like just understand that like this thing, I don't know what this is. I don't have the answers. I just know what my experience has been and what it is. I'm an experimenter. I'm a scientist.
Facts.
You know, so it's like people can tell you what it is, but until you experience something for yourself, you don't know. It's a belief until you experience and it becomes knowledge, and then you transmute that into wisdom, right?
Yeah, facts. So like that's one thing about me is like I'm not a person who really like, how can I say this? I believe that everything and anything is possible. I don't give a fuck if the earth is flat. I don't care if it's round. I don't care if it's a dome. The reason why is because no matter what, in my experience in this lifetime, I'm never gonna leave it. Let's be real. The fact that any of it is possible is the most beautiful thing, because the only way that anyone can truly know is you would have to be outside of this planet. But does that make sense?
It does 100%. And I say this, like, you could tell me, I've gotten to this conversation before, like, I don't know if the world is flat. I don't know if it's a circle. I don't know. The scientists can tell me this and that, but like, I have not been there myself. So how can I know? So people, there's proof, but the proof is what? But we're getting knowledge from somewhere else, right? And it's like, I'm not saying that people are spreading misinformation, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
That's my thing about a lot of things is like, if you have not experienced it, then chances are it may not be true to you. I tell people all the time, like, meditation has cured my depression. I've been on Zoloft. I've been on so many antidepressants. I killed myself on antidepressants. They never helped me. They only made me hear voices. And the fact is that meditation for me has healed me. Anytime that I'm feeling depressed or I'm feeling down, I go into a meditative state. The thing about it, the con of that is that I want to be in the meditative state. I want to, I thrive for that. But because of my attachments, back to what we were saying, back to my attachments, I can't. It's not the best thing that's beneficial for my existence, my purpose, my life path, right? And so that's my thing. When it comes to the things that people say are real or not real and this, I don't really give a fuck, right? Because what works for me and what's happened in my existence, I know the truth. This is my first time saying this. I literally, God, I can't believe I'm saying this shit.
Say it.
Me and my wife the other day, we walked outside and the moon started disappearing. Bro, no one's gonna believe
No,
this.
I do.
Orange.
No, stop. I'm gonna stop you right now because I'm gonna let you finish, but I've witnessed this before. So where I literally had seen the moon, I don't know if the color wise, this is not recently, this is maybe like last year where I seen the moon and I was on the phone with my friend Peter and we always get into these spiritual talks. Like I have a group of, a collective group of people that I can refer to, right? And I'm like, yo, I know it's gonna sound crazy if it was anybody else, but bro, I just seen the moon in a certain place and it's not there. And it's like, yo, that's wild. But go ahead.
Our fucking experience, we had walked outside. Like I said, I didn't want to tell nobody. My wife was like, I can vouch for you, right? But I'm telling you this. We walked outside. I looked and it was like this orange, it didn't even look like a full moon. Like it just looked like this orange ball in the sky. And I was like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, babe, come look at the moon. And it turned into a triangle. Right? It turned into a triangle. Then it slowly, she looked, I walked back and she was like, because she said, it looks like it's getting dim. I walked back. Yeah. And I looked at it again and I was like, oh my fucking God, the moon is disappearing. We need to go in the house. Because like I said, the theories, if the moon disappears, the tidal will rise, everything will, be washed away, right? So I'm thinking in my head, I'm seeing this shit. I'm like, yo, we gotta go inside. Like, fuck you talking about? If everything's gonna walk away, then we gotta be with our kids, right? And then a few minutes later, we drove. She was like, no, everything's gonna be okay. Like, you don't hear anything change. Like, nobody's freaking out, right? So we hop in the car, we drive down the street. We go to wherever we go, and then we come back and we see the moon again. And I was like, oh my fucking God, no one's ever gonna believe me that the fucking moon disappeared. I'm telling you, when you see glitches in the Matrix, bro, you cannot fucking you can't just debunk it and just be like, man, that's some bullshit. No, I'm telling you, bro, the reality that we live in is glitched out sometimes. And that's why I say sometimes I be glitched out. I just move through things loosely without having a commitment to it. But I seen that shit and I'm telling you, I almost lost my mind that day. I was like, what the fuck?
But see, nobody knows. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody knows what this is or what's going on. But so I grew up. I talk about this often. I grew up in the church. I have a very strong religious background, and there's truth. There's the principles that I found because I studied briefly, lightly touched on other religions, just to kind of know as much as I can, right? And there's so much truth in so many different things. So it's like, I don't know. I can only experience what this is. And I've experimented. Have you heard of Neville Goddard? Yeah. So Neville Goddard, there's
into everything.
Yeah,
Guru
yeah.
You mentioned that on that's who I'm trying to be. That's my idol right now.
Love it.
I'm gonna be the future guru, swim guru.
Swim guru. No, I just finished one of his books, Inner Engineering. Really, really good read.
I've been wanting to get to that. But
super good read. You said what?
Go ahead.
Before they close at Publix.
Oh, like the Publix here? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Go ahead. It's cool. Now you good.
Appreciate you.
When you back.
Okay.
All right, but go ahead.
It's right here. But rewind. Run me back.
Neville Goddard.
Okay, Neville Goddard. So Neville Goddard, I got really into the power of imagination. A lot of his books, a lot of his reads. There's something called the ladder experiment. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
I don't think I read it, but I might have heard it.
So I challenge everybody to do this because it's so you kind of see how much of a simulation-esque type of thing we are a part of, or from my experience, right? The reticular activating system, you see it in action, right? So it's this experiment where as you go to sleep for like 3 nights, I don't know if it's 3, but you go to sleep, right? I think it's 3 nights, and you envision yourself climbing a ladder. Like you have to see it clear as day. You climbing a ladder, and you continuously repeat that experiment because, you know, our attention span, most of us, our attention span is not even what it should be or what it could be because of social media, all the distractions,
Right.
just day to day. But the power of focus is beyond, like, when you learn to control your attention, you have so much power to do and make this life and sculpt it the way that you desire for it to be. But yeah, you see it and you fall asleep with this idea of you climbing a ladder. So I did this experiment with like 5 friends that I just challenged to, like, you know, get up on with me. You know what I'm saying? Let's play. And so basically you start seeing, you tell yourself, right? Before you tell yourself, I will not climb a ladder. I will not climb a ladder. And the whole purpose of this is like, how often do you see ladders and you're asked to climb a ladder? Like, it's not very common unless maybe you work in construction, right? So you program yourself, you tell yourself, I will not climb a ladder. You write it on your window, on your mirror, right? And you're not going to climb a ladder. But if you do this right, at some point in time, you're going to be asked to climb a ladder. You know what I'm saying? I got to the point to where I started seeing ladders everywhere, right? It just was the main point of my attention. I've never gotten to the point where I climbed a ladder, but one of the 5 people in the group sent me a picture, was like, yo, I wasn't even paying attention to this, but like, by the time I was up the ladder, I was like, yo, this is so crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because I would have never, this was just such a random thing, and it happened. And it's like, there's so many instances like that where it's like, bro, this is weird, but it's cool, right? And if we can like learn to set our focus, like, we are really untouchable.
No, that's facts. Hold on, let's take a break. So one thing I love to talk about, but I hate to talk about, is like religion, right? And I grew up on Christian beliefs too. I grew up in the church, but as a child, I used to ask questions like, how y'all know this? Mm-hmm. Right? And it was simple things like, oh, Jesus walked on water. And I'm like, how do y'all know? That's cool as fuck. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, how do y'all know? Like, how do you know? Oh, because it says in here. And I was like, yeah, but I need some kind of evidence. Mm-hmm. I need to know, like, these things are real. And then another thing that like fucked up my head as a young kid is I heard, and I curse because it's passion, right? That's the reason why I curse on my platform. But so one thing that fucked up my head is that one day I heard a preacher or somebody say, if you have a child out of wedlock, if you have sex without marriage, then you go to hell. Mm-hmm. And this has sat in my head for like so long. I think I was probably like 8, 9 years old when I heard that. And I was like, my mom's gonna go to hell. Mm. I don't really know my dad. My mom and my dad wasn't married. My mom's gonna go to hell. And I remember asking my aunt at the time, I was like, so you go to hell if you have sex? And I was like, she was like, yeah. And then I was like, but why? Why do you go to hell if you have sex? Right? So as a child, I would always ask these questions, and a lot of things just would pop up. And I would just always ask, like, how, why, this, and that. And then eventually I got to a point now in my life where I've done so much research that I look at religion as a cult. Mm-hmm. Everything is really a cult. Mm-hmm. Everything is rituals. We actually live in, and like, this is like one of the titles of the book that I'm going to work on. Y'all hear it first. But it goes a little like, I can't believe we live in a world where aliens are real. Right? And everything that you thought was fake is the truth. Mm-hmm. We live in a place of Harry Potter. Mm-hmm. We literally do. I just did magic. I just changed the frequency of the room by doing the sound bowl. Right?
And not to, because people get scared, but we are trained to be scared of this stuff. Like, your words are spells. You literally spell words out, how you speak about yourself, how you feel about yourself. This is truly magic. Like, we live in a world of magic. So it's like intention, right? It's so important, your intention. Like, you can use it for good or for bad, but it's like, I say this, right? Because I did grow up in the church too. And to go back to your story, like I've always had an issue with like, I didn't want to go to hell. That was my thing.
Who does?
It was a fear thing, right? So it's
Everybody's
like,
scared of that.
Man, who wants to go to hell? So I'm not saying I know that hell exists or doesn't exist, but I do know that there are states that we experience here on this earth while we are here internally, right? And I've lived so many different lives in this one. You know what I'm saying? But as a kid, it was fear. And I remember like I grew up super religious, right? My best friends were PKs, pastors' kids. And so like, but I also was a part of like the worldly world, right? So it's like, I'm seeing my friends who are doing, you know, normal stuff that's fun. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to hell. You know what I'm saying? Praying for them. But I'm like, I'm kind of doing the same thing, but I can ask for forgiveness. So I'm okay.
You believe in Jesus, so you're good.
So I'm good. So, and that was my problem as I got older with the message that I guess mainstream Christianity appears to have spread, at least in my life. Like, do what you want. It's not saying this verbatim, but this is what was seeded. Like, you could do what you want, but don't worry. Ask for forgiveness. You're relinquishing your control. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's what this is another thing I would ask, is I was like, all right, so, and I say this to my mom now because she's going through her spiritual journey, and I helped her like kind of wake up a little, right? We'll talk about that later. But the fact is, I'll be like, Mom, I'll be like, so let's say a 14-year-old kid in a third world country, he does everything for his family. He works every day because his mom's sick. He takes care of the house. He cleans. He does everything out of love. Right? Don't know who Jesus is. Ain't never been to church. Don't even know how to read. None of that shit. He speak a foreign language that no one can understand. Right? But then Molly, right? She cheats on her husband. She steals from the church. Right before she dies, she says, God, forgive me. I believe in Jesus. She go to heaven. But the kid in the foreign country, he died. Right?
without knowing
anything about Jesus. You want to tell me to go to hell? I'm sorry. I'll never believe it.
But let me tell you something.
Go ahead.
That was my plan. I was last seconds. God forgive me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like deep down. And
God, forgive me.
Like, you know what I'm saying? But that's not, I don't believe that that's how this works. And it's like, yo, if I was born in any different region of the world, right? And their predominant religion was whatever it is, let's say Hinduism or Buddhism or Muslim or whatever it is, I'd be that. You know what I'm saying? Because I was born into that.
That's how everything is.
Right.
That's how everything is. You're a part of the cult because you're born in the cult and you've been converted or indoctrinated by your parents.
Over and over and
everything
over.
else, everything outside of that belief is the devil, is the sin. And that's when I was like, there's no, like for me now, I don't believe that. I like you said, I lived in hell in multiple stages. I've been on drugs, lean, strip club. These are the closest place I've ever been in hell. I even, like I said, I killed myself. I've been to hell. But I will say this, heaven and hell truly resides within you. The devil and God truly resides in you. The reason why is because you have a choice. You have a choice to live your life out of love, pure love. You can't be perfect. It's impossible, right? Or you can live a complete cycle of doing bad shit. And that's what most people do. Most people, like I talk about this all the time. I have homies, right, that I try to put on. I didn't try to help them. I moved them in with me, this, and that, right? And they'll see how I'm doing good and be like, oh, I want to do the things that you're doing. But yet they go back to their old situation and then they beg me to save them. So in my mind, the way this is that I have a boat. I see my homie drowning. I pick him up, put his ass in the boat with me. Hey, dog, I'm gonna save you, bro. You can fish with me. Now we're gonna get more fish. You know, we're gonna go crazy together. But then his ass jump off the boat, and he's like, "Save me, save me." I'm like, "Bro, I just picked you up. Why you jump off if you can't swim?" Pick him up again. Same thing, right? But then what I realized is that when you are in control of your reality, you have to save yourself. Everybody always asks me, like, how did you heal from your depression? Or how did you get over depression? It was me. It was motherfucking me. I had to do it. I had to literally die, be a fucking vegetable for 2 weeks, and then come back alive and realize I had to get myself out of that shit. I had to stop identifying as my trauma. One thing I talk about all the time is the victim mentality. Poor me. Fuck that shit. No, not poor you. Empower yourself. Glow up. like everybody say, glow up and get your shit together. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Anything that you want. But the fact is that we're limited, we're victims, and we allow ourselves to be manipulated by our parents. I'm sorry,
and it's not intentional. They don't even know.
I'm gonna say it the most disrespectful in the correct way. Fuck your parents. The reason why I'm saying it in the most disrespectful term, because you have to have that thought in your brain as fuck my parents. I love my parents, but fuck everything that they taught me. And then you need to relearn you in life for you, because if not, you're never gonna have your own identity. You're only gonna be identifying as what someone told you that they wanted you to be. Your parents are always gonna see you as their children. I have to go to my mom and tell her, yo, mom, I'm a grown man. There's things I can help you with. Now I'm the nigga, right? Sorry for using this term, but I'm that nigga that has to step up if your man beats on you. I'm him. That's me. I'm the one who has to handle that. I cannot handle that operating as just your son. I have to operate as the protector of our family now. Does that make sense?
So a couple things before we get too far, I want to address. So you said good and bad, and I just want to give context to that. There's no good, there's no bad, right?
Absolutely.
And the sin is when you go against your moral compass, right? So the good, bad perspective, how you see things, how you view things, but like everything is ultimately serving, in my belief, in my favor, right? Like it's a lesson to teach you how to grow, how to elevate, all these things. The loop, I'll say this about the loop. It's like, yeah, when we're in the loops, right? You cannot escape something you don't know that you're a part of, right? You just can't. When you talk about the boat, saving other people, it's that same, things are super cliche, right? So like you could take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink, right? All these cliches, all these like tokens, gems that are given to us by different authors and artists, they're saying the same thing, but from their filter. You know what I'm saying? They're putting us on game. So it's like going back to you, because I've had this issue in the past as well. It's like overextending when, like, as I'm on my journey, because we're all on this journey, right? As I'm doing my best to elevate, like we're human, and I got to remember, I could forget. It's not a linear path, bro. It's like, you're here, but you have control. Like when you know that this is your life and you are the captain of your ship, you know what I'm saying? The master of your soul. You get the power back into your hands to decide and declare what's yours, right? But it's like overextending yourself to save other people. The best way to do that is to level up, right? Like I can speak and tell you that this is it. I just want to give everybody like, yo, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, come on, like, and you sound kind of crazy until it's done. And it's like, okay, sometimes you got to shut up and just do. Like, you know what it is. And I know you know what it is because you know how it goes. You see it here first. You believe it. There's nothing that can tell me that it isn't already. So you move as if it is because it already is. So it's like a lot of people don't know that, right? I can tell just energetically, like you could be at whatever place you're at. But if you tell me who you are and you believe who you are, who am I to not believe you? I'm going to treat you because I see myself in everybody, right? Divinity, right? But you get mirrored back to you how you feel about yourself. Always. That's just how this works, right? So the best way to help people is to do it yourself, to get to the place that you say you're going, and then people start to listen. Then people start to ask questions. Then it's like this is our responsibility.
That's facts. One of my older brothers actually, or my older brother actually said that to me. He said a leader leads from the front. And that sat with me so long because I used to be like, nah, leader, he tell if you a boss, you tell the shooter to go like all that stupid thoughts. And then my brother said it one day and he said a leader leads from the front. And I sat with that and I was like, that's facts. You lead by example, the way that I carry myself. And when I talk about big things that changed my life, me having a son molded me to who I am becoming now. Before my son was a coward, used to care about, pussy and fucking all the bitches and all that, being the coolest nigga, the tatted nigga. Having my son made me realize that I have to teach him what it means to be a man for me. No one else taught me that. So I had to go and teach myself this. I had to learn the lesson so I could be like, yo, hey, when you mess with girls, hey, wrap it up. I got 5 kids. I got 2 that I pay child support for. And that's a whole trap. You know what I'm saying? Like, so now that I made the mistake, I can tell my kids like, yo, hey, when y'all in the club and y'all trying to get lit, Stay away from them drugs. Let them other people do it because it's going to fuck you up here and here. Right? So leading by example, like that's what I had to do. Like even now, like I said, I'm sitting in my mesh right now. One of my other homies, he said, one of his things that he said is don't wrestle with the pig because you're going to wrestle with the pig and you're going to get dirty. Ooh. You're going to hate it and the pig's going to love it. Right now, I say this for me. Sit in the dirt because sometimes you got to be a pig. Sometimes you got to get dirty. Sometimes you have to understand your struggle. If not, you're not going to get through it. Those loops that we talking about, my homie, he has to learn from it. So a couple months ago, I started meditating with a Buddhist monk. I love religion. Not like I don't love religions like a certain religion. I love to understand it. Where did it come from? That's why I like Billy Carson. Let's go. Yo, what's the first Bible? All these things I've been asking. So one day around my birthday, I said, I'm going to go sit with a Buddhist monk. I want to learn how they meditate. What's their mastery on meditation? So I went, and when I tell you it was a great experience, one, I learned that Buddhism isn't a religion. It's a lifestyle, right? Buddhism is about going beyond duality. Like you said, there is no good and bad. Once you realize that everything is happening as you, for you, right? Once you learn all these things, then you can be moving, like I said, loosely. You can be glitched out because now you're not attached to what's good or what's bad. You realize that everything is balanced. No balance is still balance, right? So if everything is synchronicity, everything works together like the laws of the universe. 12
of them that are just, they are what they are.
You have to, like, once you get aware of this shit, you start caring less about things that you used to care about. I don't give a fuck if, let's say I get a job and I get fired. I don't care. You know why?
Right.
Because it's time for a new one. I don't care if I have money because I can get money again. I don't care if I'm fat because I can get skinny again. It's that easy. So that's the thing. It's like we have to sit with that though. One thing about Buddhism that also taught me is that Buddhism, there are Buddhas, there's multiple ones. Before I said there was two, there's more than two. But there's one, because one day I was sitting with the Buddhist monk and I was like, yo, so I know about the fat Buddha, but can you tell me about the fat Buddha and the skinny Buddha? And I thought it was inappropriate to say the fat Buddha too, right? Because I'm like, does he have a name? He's like, no, it's the fat Buddha and the skinny Buddha. So the skinny Buddha is a similar being that's similar to Jesus. What he does is he goes down to the hell realm, right? Think about this on like an earthly standpoint. He goes to the hell realm.
The lower frequencies.
The lower frequency, right? And what he does, he leads by examples and helps the lower beings find enlightenment.
But let me tell you something about that. Just even from knowing that, it's like, yo, that to me is so much power because it's like once you frequencies, man, like if you remember, you can forget. We can be vibing here all day, right? And then you start hanging out with the same crowd that was vibrating at a different frequency than you. It's not good or bad. It's just lower, higher, different frequencies. To not assimilate to that, you have to have so much control and so much power over your being. And it's like, that's where I find myself now. Like I'm an extremist and I'm working on it because balance, everything is balance. But it's like, as doing the 75 hard, this is my third time doing it because I found myself right back to where I was before. So it's like getting to the place to where I can get here and find the balance to be able to operate and take this and implement that in the world, right? Because it's like doing this in solitude is beautiful, but it's like the training field because you have to go out there. You have to go out there.
Put it on the stage.
So that skinny Buddha, that's crazy.
Yo, so when he told me about the skinny Buddha, you know who I thought about? I thought about Jesus. And I was like, that kind of sounds like Jesus, because who did Jesus hang out with?
The sinners, the hoes, and the
trap niggas, the hoes, the go-getters.
All of them,
you know what I'm saying? So that was like, oh my God, it's similarity. Then the fat Buddha represents the completion of the journey. What does God look like in all the little pictures and books? It looks like a fat nigga in heaven with a fucking beard. And he's sitting up there and he's telling you da similar to Santa Claus. And I was like, okay, so this is similarities. Boom. I started understanding these things based upon Buddhism and my friend Tiensu, the monk. It doesn't matter if they're fat or skinny or what they look like. What matters is what they represent. They don't worship any of them. But when you look at these people in Buddhism, it's kind of like, who's your favorite singer?
I don't do well with absolutes, bro.
Just give me anyone.
Chris Brown.
Okay, Chris Brown. If you are a fan of Chris Brown, and let's say you're a singer and you wanted to sing, Chris Brown would be your inspiration. It's the same thing with Buddhism. If you want to be an enlightened being, then you kind of look at like, yo, how did Buddha do things? It's the same thing, but that's the thing is that when it comes to religion, we're confined to believing that this is the one truth. That's not how it works. If we're sitting in the forest and a tree catches on fire out of nowhere, you're going to tell your version and I'm going to tell my version. But guess what? There's going to be little synchronicities and there's going to be a hell of a lot of differences.
But it's all truth.
Exactly.
Because there's this book, right? And you probably know it. You know, the 4 Agreements.
Yes. Hold on. Wait.
All right. So reeling it back in.
The 4 Agreements.
There's a book called The 4 Agreements. My mentor told me about this book called The 5 Agreements, right?
I was going to read that one too.
Such a good book. Why did I reference this? What happened? What did you say right before this?
I was saying about the different experiences.
Okay.
Of it both being
so
the truth.
There's the absolute truth because it's here. Everything is here. And there's your limited truth, your perspective. And it's like, I'm not here to prove what I believe is real to anybody else because this is my experience. Like, and I've used this example before. I hold what do you see?
Your phone.
What is it? What does it look like?
It's brown. The case is brown and it's blue.
Well, I'm looking at a picture of me. It's not blue. It got a little camera here.
It's a different side of the
different.
spectrum.
It's the same thing, though. We're not
in the
lying.
same room. That's
right.
Facts. That's facts. That's truth. And that's what I was telling people is that my truth is my truth. I've astral projected and some people haven't.
I have too.
It's fucking scary. I'm not gonna say it's scary. I gotta stop doing that. Like we always say, words are powerful.
Yes.
It's not that it's scary. It's that it was something that I was trained to believe is scary. First of all, before we even go, I've been experiencing spirits since I was 5.
Bro.
I've been hearing pictures talk, cars revving engines that's like men in the corners of my closet, all these things that I thought was so scary. And this is why I tell you guys, like, don't be afraid of magic. Don't be afraid of witchcraft. Don't be afraid of anything. To seek understanding will debunk any type of fear. And that's my truth.
But I do want to say this, like with religion, a lot of us have been brought up. It's the fear of questioning outside of, because it's like, it is this way because it is this way. And that's it.
That's
right.
But
I
told you so.
But for me, it's like the God that I serve, right, wants me to serve because it's me. It's not because I'm scared to. It's not. It's literally you don't have to do anything. But if you want to understand this world, you have to experiment in your own being, right? Trial and error. Astral projection. Okay, so I'm also very spiritual. We talked about this off camera, but there's 3 different numbers that are kind of big. Right. So you have your life path number, your soul urge, and your expression number, which is your destiny number. Right. We can go on a completely different topic tangent, but our similarity is in our destiny number, which is 7. Right. It's a very spiritual path. Right. So it's very interesting to see where the things kind of align and like it's different experiences. Right. So as a kid, I have always struggled with, and I say struggle because back then it was, right, but it's not struggles. I've always experienced what they call sleep paralysis, right?
Same.
Sleep paralysis.
I used to have it for like months straight.
Man, what? As a kid, right? And I told my mom about it. And then I told you I was PK best friend. So the pastor came over and like did the whole thing. So there is this whole like idea of like fear around that. So every time, and I've experienced it all the way through my adulthood, right? But it used to happen so much as a kid. And through my understanding and what I've learned is like, that is literally the step right before you can astral project.
So wait, before do you sleep on your stomach or you sleep on your back?
So the most comfortable position for me is to sleep on my side.
Like kind of like on your side?
On my side, but this happens the most when you're sleeping on your back.
All right, go ahead.
But I got to a point to where it used to happen so much where I could feel when it was coming on and like you can fight it. You know, you can kind of shake it off. You know what I'm saying? But there's been, when I was young, I've experienced myself like coming up out of my body, right? And feeling myself do this, but looking at myself like just there. And it used to scare the shit out of me. You know what I'm saying? And it's still not the smoothest.
Yeah,
like
it's like
thing.
skydiving. I ain't gonna lie.
Because it's
or on a roller coaster,
bro. It's like a realm that I don't fully like it, but I'm not scared of it. I was watching this interview with Joey Badass, right?
Yeah.
I think it was Montreality. And he was saying something like, it was a funny story, maybe like insert clip here or something. But it was like, he was saying like, in order to be a ruler of this realm, you have to understand how to navigate in these spaces. Facts. You know what I'm saying? And it's true. It's like, there are so many people that have access to different faculties. And it's not that we are all capable of these things, but we just don't know. We utilize a very small percentage of our capabilities. Mm-hmm. And one of my goals, which is my overall goal, is yes, autonomy, but being able to maximize this experience of life and what that means. Because it's like, you can talk to somebody, and I use this analogy all the time, but it's like, let's say you're on a level 27. I don't know, there's no levels, but like you're operating on a frequency 27.
5D.
Right. But I'm over here operating on 14. You could be talking to me, but you can only reach me at 14. You know what I'm saying? So as you go through life, you may feel like you're reaching people, right? But sometimes you're higher, sometimes you're lower. And typically you won't know if you're lower, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Yeah, you can only talk to people where they are. And it's a never ending journey of leveling up.
And that, so I'm going to talk about two things. My astral projection, man, I dealt with that sleep paralysis for a month straight 1 year. And
as a kid or an adult?
As I think I was like 20 years old. Mm-hmm. And one time I was like, I said this before, but I was laying in the bed with one of my children's mom and my daughter at the time, and it's so stupid. But I was laying there sleeping, and I was the first thing I heard was Kanye's song is "Devil in a Red Dress" or "Devil in a New Dress" or whatever, and he says, he said, "We love Jesus, but you can learn a lot from Satan." Mm-hmm, some shit like that. Mm-hmm. And this shit kept playing while I'm on my back dealing with that, right? And then I heard chimes like glass like hitting together. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I've been suffering from this. I'm not going to say suffering anymore, but I've been dealing with this special power, superpower, right? My whole entire life. But anytime that I would deal with it, I would scream. I would try to get out of it. I would try to fight the beings that I would see. But this time, as I was coming out of this sleep paralysis or whatever you want to call it, what is it? I can't think of the word that we're calling it right now.
Astral projection?
No, before astral
sleep paralysis.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. Anyways, as I was dealing with it and I was coming out of it, my voice got distorted and I talked demonic for a little bit. I said something, I don't remember what, but then I got up, looked in the mirror, and my eyes were like bloodshot, fucking red, right? At first, I was like, I was possessed. For the longest, I was possessed. You know, this and that. I even watched videos on YouTube one time and a demon jumped out of the computer into my face, right? I'm being dead ass.
No, I believe you.
This is on my soul, right? And for the longest, I was like, demons and scared of demons. I even talked to this pastor of mine that I played basketball with, and he had told me, he was like, I can set you up in exorcism, this and that. But as I got older, where I'm at now, I realized that all of these entities have communicated with me for a reason. It was either to help them, it was either because they needed transit, or they were a piece of me, my spirit guides, my ancestors, me, other versions of myself, right? So I had to learn this stuff, but it was scary as fuck. But for the longest, I try to tell people about this and they think you're crazy and they think man, fuck all that shit. Back to what you were saying. When it comes to the spiritual journey, one of the hardest things is trying to communicate people your experience. Like me and my wife, we always talk about this. She's on her own spiritual journey. I'm on my spiritual journey, but she'll say something like, I wish I was woke like you. And I'm like, first of all, I hate the term woke. I fucking hate it because anytime anyone uses the woke, they think about black wokeness. Like everything is pro-black.
The dashiki, the incense.
Is pro-black or conspiracy theorists, right? So I fucking hate the term woke. I would say I am spiritually awakened or spiritually conscious. These are my terms, right? So when my wife, she'll say that and I'll be like, this is the thing though. Unfortunately, you are on your own journey. I don't know what level you are on. The only thing I can say is you need to tap into yourself. All the spiritual things that you know, or that you've seen or that you experienced, you need to dive into them. Like my wife can do magic. My wife can do magic. She's done a money ritual and we've gotten a lump sum of money in like 2 fucking days.
All energy is money. All money
Facts.
is energy.
Facts.
So
and that's what one of my teachers taught me, Miss Deborah. She taught me, she said, don't say that you don't like money. Because me personally, I don't like the way that people act when it's about money. But she was like, what you need to say is, I attract money and money loves me. Money thinks I'm sexy. Money is attracted to me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to start saying that. Hey, money is attracted to me. So these things, like I said, on the spiritual journey, everyone's not on the same space, the same level. But no matter what, whether you realize it in this lifetime or not, you're on the spiritual journey.
Yeah.
You're on that hamster wheel.
yeah.
You have to just make a decision to get the fuck off and say, hey, what the fuck is this? Like, why am I this way? I had to act like during 75 Hard, I figured out like I'm one with the trees. It sounds crazy. I was out hugging the tree. I started looking at the trees like, how do y'all communicate? Oh my God, I'm sorry for all the pain that you experienced. You've seen us kill ourselves. You've seen me probably 5, maybe 100 times. Like I sat with a tree and I was like, thank you. I'm sorry that you had to deal with that. I'm sorry that you've seen us destroy you. I'm sorry. Like I have pictures of me like hugging trees.
This is synchronicity at its finest. Last night, so yesterday, so 75 Hard, right? Like I like to do one of my workout. It has to be outside, and I like to go for either walks or jogs, just being in nature, right? And so yesterday, literally, it was dark at night, and I don't operate in fear, and I know this sounds super irresponsible. I'm untouchable. I feel really protected, right?
I heard what you and Dr. B said too.
So, but I just like out at any hours of the night, right? Like so, like. Whatever. But yesterday, there was this group of trees and I just felt so drawn to them, but one specifically. And mind you, I've had an experience on the 75 Hard the last time where I was also here with nature. Like I was just like, and I'm a nature girl, but like really deeply connected to the trees, to the plants, to just earth, right? But yesterday, there's this one tree and I just, every time I circled it, I would touch it and like, just like literally see me hugging it like here. And feeling just completely like I was being hugged. You know what I'm saying? Facts. And it's like, it sounds crazy. You know what I'm saying? Not to you, right? Yeah, but like if you, it's to the world. Like, you know what I'm saying? Get these hippies off there.
To our culture, bro. Right. That's what be the saddest. Like it be so sad to me because I'll try to take somebody who's a close friend of mine. Like I said, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know what your beliefs are, but I hate the term black. I hate the term niggas. I hate the term real nigga. I hate the term street nigga. I hate all these terms because it separates ourselves. Anytime we identify as something outside of ourselves, we're identifying as something differently than us. The key to identify as what you are is to say nothing or to say that you are God. That's my beliefs, right? But so I'll take somebody and I'll be like, yo, come up with me to Stone Mountain at 5 a.m.
That's some white people shit?
Oh, they'll be like, bro, white people, KKK. I'm like, bro, y'all don't realize that our ancestors used to run from Savannah all the way to the top of that mountain with messages, and they used to always trade stuff, all these different things. Not only that, I've seen spirits on the top of Stone Mountain. There's a lady who sits on a rock up there. There's a child who sits in a bed of grass over there. Like I've seen these things myself. So I always try to get my homies, my niggas, my black folks, right? I try to get them involved, and I'll take somebody out to the park like, yo, take your shoes off when we walking through this trail. They'll be like, nah, bro, that's dirty. That's some white people stuff. Y'all have to realize we was here before them. Every being that is on this planet came from a black being,
melanated
right?
person,
Anunnaki, whatever, however you want to put it, right?
Shout out Billy Carson.
Facts. Shout out Billy. But that's my thing. It's like, y'all don't realize that the reason why that y'all are so low vibrational is because you're not connecting to the planet. The planet is you.
You have the ground, man. And I be up on the mountain, yes, shoes off, meditating, Stone Mountain all the time. I'm in Decatur, so I'm like
5 a.m. on Sundays. Yes.
Man, what? Yeah, absolutely. But I like hikes in general. I like there's something about nature. There's something about nature that is just so fueling, right? Because we are all connected. Everything is connected and everything is conscious. I got to the point to where like even with bugs, you know what I'm saying? Like I do my best, right?
I try not to kill them either.
I do my best. I'm not perfect, but I do my best. You know what I'm saying? And in the book Inner Engineering, right? There's this practice where I'm implementing in my daily life. It's like for whenever you're conscious of it, but start with, every hour till you get to like every minute, to where you bow your head at like a tree or a bug or a flower, something that in this world humans think is lesser than. Like we are all a part of that same energy. We are all part of the cosmic energy. So like when you start to get in the habit of like surrendering or just like giving acknowledgement, you know what I'm saying? You really become just
aware,
but zen, all the things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, it's like, man, we are here. And as humans, like I feel like we feel superior, like the superior species. But you said we are?
No. I'm saying like that is how we act.
That's
like,
how we feel.
We are those type of people. Yeah.
We feel, but like everything is everything. You know what I'm saying?
I totally agree. Like I'm such a spiritual being now, is that I can feel the vibration of the earth. I can feel the vibration of the planet. Mm-hmm. Everything is one with me. And so another thing that I got in tune with, you ever heard of Osho?
Yeah.
Similar to Sadhguru for me, at least in my opinion. He had a bad rap and they said he started
Okay, then no. I'm thinking about so the goddess. No, Osho, no. You know who I'm thinking about? Do you know what I'm thinking about? Oshun or
something like that. I know you're talking about. So Osho, one of the things, you know who Alan Watts is?
I love Alan Watts.
Okay, so he's similar to Alan Watts. But with Osho, one of the things that he said that I've been working on is he said that when you hug, feel the hug. Right? Like, don't just hug somebody, but feel the connection. Feel the space in between your bodies touching. Hug as if it's your last and your first time. If you kiss your partner, feel the ripples on their lips. Now, this isn't verbatim. I'm giving you an example. Right? And so that's kind of been my thing now, is that, and I tell my wife all the time, and I say it all the time, that it sounds fucked up, but my peace is being alone, being out in the grass, and just existing, not doing nothing, not saying nothing, not thinking about being dirty. I don't give a fuck if bugs are in my hair. I don't care if I itch. I don't care. Just sit and do nothing and exist and be one with every single thing that is existing. Yep. And I'm telling you that it gives me a sense of freedom, peace, connection, and that is the divine touch of the creator, right? So Osho had taught me that. And then like with Sadhguru, whenever I tap into Sadhguru and I watch this stuff, and a lot of people in our culture aren't really hip to Sadhguru, which is
I feel like he's one of the more popular.
I feel like anytime I bring it up, nobody's like, they like, I know Bobby Hemmett, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know about them, da da da. But I'm like, if y'all listen to what Sadhguru says, I don't care about his background story. I don't care about that. I care about what he says. It's simple things about just thinking. Just thinking about everything that's happening, being aware and questioning. Ask questions. Ask questions, and then ask a question to the question until you find an answer that resonates with your spirit. And that's why I say, like, I want to be like Sadhguru, because the fact is that you can slow everything down. And if you ever watch any of Sadhguru's interviews, he does not scream. He doesn't tell you you're wrong. The only thing he says is, okay. That's how you know that.
But he's full of so many analogies that, like,
gosh, he got bars.
He's really a poet. He is a poet.
Bars. But those type of levels of spirituality is what I'm seeking. But I know that when I look at these spiritual teachers, these people that we're learning lessons from, one, I know that I am what you are, and we are. Simple as that. We are nothing as we are something, right? And so when I look at these teachers, I know that my version of Sadhguru is not going to be Sadhguru. I'm going to be me. But when I say these things that I want to be like them, the fact is, I want to be my version of that.
Absolutely.
I want to be the best version of me, the version where I can speak truly from my spirit, operate truly from my spirit, and not be conformed to what someone wants me to be. So.
I love that. And it's like, yeah, man, understanding like who we are, like we change constantly. Like we're not like, but knowing like to your core, like what it is, you know what I'm saying? We evolve, we change, but it's like when you know what it is that you want, like I say this all the time also, like, you know, your why, you know, the who, you don't have to worry about the how. You know what I'm saying? You just know it is, and things just naturally align that way. As you continue to walk your path, the path continues to unfold. It's like a lot of times the steps, you can't see them. You know what I'm saying? But if you continue to just like progress in that direction, like everything's going to align the way that it's supposed to, you know?
That's facts. Let's take a break. So that's what I wanted to just ask you. What, when did you have your first like spiritual breakthrough?
Oh, so it's like a cultivation, like, you know, it's layered, but like when I really decided, like, so I tell people this all the time, like I saw what time was for myself. Like it just hit me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, time's going to go regardless of if I'm going with it or not. Cause I've always known, like, there's always been an innate, I grew up poor. I grew up in a very interesting dynamic. We all have stories, right?
From here?
So I was born in New Jersey, popped out the womb though, raised in Miami.
Got you. Okay.
But I've been in Atlanta for like 9 years almost. So, long story short, you know, I experienced different things in life early. My father had, or suffered from mental illness. My thing is, mental illness my belief is that it's trauma, undealt with trauma. Right. And we don't know how to really express it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's real. So like there's all these definitions and like medical systems that put these names on these things. But it's all a part of the taking the control out of your hands. You know, it's like we are these ecosystems that operate fully in totality. Like you cannot take a piece of the ecosystem and expect for everything else to function that way. Everything depends on each other. So it's like I don't agree with like the medicine, all these things, but I get it. Whatever is needed to help you on that journey during your time. But for me, medical practice is exactly that. It's a practice, right? Like I'm not a doctor. I didn't go to school, but I do believe the body is a unit that's built to regenerate and heal itself. We are so smart and so capable. But I say that to say, like, I've always been interested in learning. I've always been interested in like experiencing, but I had this like growing up, and I didn't know until looking back, like I was able to function in the state of like almost disassociation, which is what got me through, because I experienced a lot of trauma from a young age. And then, you know, you kind of operate out of survival, you know what I'm saying? Until you get out of that and heal you have to, you know what I'm saying? You cannot create fully if you're operating in survival mode. I was in a lack mentality. So it was just a whole bunch of things that had to happen for me to get to this place to where I saw that time was going. I've always known that I was going to be more than okay. Financially, just in life in general, right? I didn't know how, but for me, it was like, oh, the next chapter is going to be better. Like, I didn't enjoy my childhood. My teens will be better. Didn't enjoy my teens. Oh, my 20s will be better. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you have to really do it for yourself. So it's like, I have all these talents. I have all these gifts. I love people connecting. Like I have all the resources here, but I hadn't figured out how to mesh. And it's like, that's when I understood. There's this book by Angela Duckworth that I reference often.
Dropping gems, guys. I'm going to go back and read this, and I'm going to write down every book that you said. But
man, listen, we need to start a book club for real. Cause like
a book list, really.
For real. And then I'll read the books you suggest, and we'll figure it out. But it's called Grit by Angela Duckworth. And basically it really put into perspective for me that like talent and execution are two completely different things. You can be the most talented person in the world, but it can almost operate as a crutch,
That's
right?
A bar.
You know,
a bar, yeah.
Because it's like, you know, like you're capable of all these things, but like nobody else knows, like it's in you. You know what I'm saying? I had a sit down with Ray Daniels the other day, and he was like, talent it's in your body. It's in your bones. It's in your fingers. Like, but what are you going to do with that? Like, how are you going to execute that? I used to see people, it used to be so frustrating as a creative. Like, I have all this to give, but I haven't put it out there. So you're seeing everybody or people that are putting things out there that in your brain, like, is mid. You know what I'm saying? But art is art. It's subjective.
That shit y'all be dropping is mid. I ain't gonna lie. I'm the greatest there ever was.
No,
But
talk
nah,
your shit. No,
facts.
talk your shit.
I agree with you though, but go ahead.
But it's a skill to be able to execute. So these 75 hard processes that I put myself through, it's not just a 75 hard, it's all of these different things that help me to get things done. And slowly and surely I'm doing it. So you asked me what got me, like, what was my first spiritual awakening? Honestly, there's just another book, The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Right?
I read that, I believe.
Right?
Pretty sure I read that.
Okay, so it's like a lot of people have their awakenings when it's a crisis or when you're going through something that's just like, it doesn't have to be that, but it's really what triggers us to kind of like come up out of that, right? So for me, I was in a very unhealthy relationship that I saw in retrospect repeated what I seen my mom go through, right? And I stayed in that relationship because I thought, it's the same thing. Like I can heal, I can do this and that. And I was just really starting my spiritual journey to where I felt like I started seeing things where it's like, yo, I'm really manifesting. I'm seeing this. I'm powerful. Like, and I was like a baby, and I'm still a baby in this game, but I was like a newborn. Boom. And I got confused with the level of attraction. Sometimes we feel like everything is not meant to be a romantic relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like
Sometimes it's just a lesson.
Sometimes it's just a lesson, but also sometimes you have to figure out what that relationship is. Is it a creative partnership? Is it a friendship? Just because you're attracted to somebody does not mean that that is a person you're supposed to be with. But I felt this like feeling that I had never felt about this person. And I was like, oh, wow, like that's it. Like that's it. And what I'm realizing happened now is I rap. I didn't know that. I've always written, I've always done poetry, but I didn't know how far I was until I knew. And I experienced my understanding of this with him in the room. And I attached my love and my, like that moment, my love for music and this new expression that I have access to. And I associated that with him. So in my mind, like, oh yeah, this relationship, we're going to be like the creative, like
Beyonce and Jay-Z.
Yeah, it's a rap, like da-da-da-da. That is not what it was. It was so, like, I took on so much shit. And I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? I didn't realize how ugly, like, the shit needed to be taken care of. There's shit, right? So these relationships act as mirrors. You're like right here and you're seeing the shit that, the shit that bothers you the most about someone, it's triggering you for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
These are built up traumas. Yeah, that's part of shadow work.
Yes. So I experienced this and it lasted for like 2-3 years. And I realized like, yo, this is so crazy. I was broken down to the point where it's like, yo, I didn't even know who I was. My friends were scared for me because I wasn't looking healthy. My light, I've heard people say like, you're like, my light is not even there. Like your eyes look different, all these things. And it was a very toxic situation to be in, but I'm so grateful for that because the person's not bad. You know what I'm saying? Not a bad person.
No one is a bad person.
No one is a bad person, but I do believe like prior to this, we signed a contract to experience these things, to learn from them. And I'm more than grateful because had it not been for that, I would have not been so deep in this journey of where I'm at now. And I know it's continuous elevation, but yo, when I'm aligned, the doors just be opening, the thing just unfolds. It just does.
Everything becomes easy. That's my thing also. Two things. One, there is no bad human being. There's no such thing as bad. The reason why I say that, and I always talk about this, I'm an extremist, right? Like you said, you're an extremist. So I'm an extreme thinker. When we say bad, who's the worst person we could think of in ever history that we ever heard about?
Who, the devil?
Hitler.
Oh, okay.
Right? And my thing is, what was Hitler's trauma? Do you know what happened to his mom? Do you know anything about his dad? Do you know if he was raped, molested, held captive by Jewish people or anything like that? You don't. So therefore, we can't say that these people are bad people. We have to dive deeper and to say, why did this person become that way? I said it before. There's no way you could ever make me believe that I can meet Hitler at 6 years old and he's like, I'm going to kill all people on some Stewie shit. I'm never going to believe it. Nothing. So that's my thing. One, nobody is bad. Everyone is a product of their traumatic experiences, right? With relationships, I always say this. My first relationship was physically abusive. I put my hands on my baby mama. She put her hands on me. My second relationship was mentally abusive. My baby mama used to say horrible things about me, and I thought it was crazy, so I would go cheat on her. By the time I got to my wife, you know what I realized? Those were both relationships that taught me how to be prepared for my wife. I don't cheat on my wife. I don't beat on my wife. We respect each other. Soon as we got together, we had one little fight where it got a little physical. I ended up pushing her away and grabbing her by her throat. She punched me in my face. And you know what I said? I said, unfortunately, I'm not going to be the monster in this relationship. And if this continues, if it ever happens again, I'm done with you. Because in all of those relationships, what I realized is that I was accepting it. The first relationship, my mom used to say, don't hit a woman. Well, what happens when a woman wraps a chain around her hand and punches you in the face? What's your reaction? You just going to take it? No. My reaction ended up being, because she hit me in my face, it started with me choking her. Then it started becoming even worse because I accepted that. So anytime she scratched my face or pull out a knife on me, next thing I know, I'm the one who's restraining her. And now my daughter thinks that I'm the one who's causing the whole argument, the physical abuse, when the only thing that happened is I was reacting. But it became something that I accepted and it became a habit. Same with the second relationship. The first time that she disrespected me and called me stupid and posted our business on social media, I should have left her. But instead, I accepted it. Oh, you posted on social media. Next week we're together. Oh, you do it again. Next week we're together. I accepted all that bullshit. Not any time in my marriage has my wife got on social media and posted our problems. Not any time in our marriage has she ever had to deal with another woman hitting her phone like, yo, I was with Tuesday, Never will she have to by every bone in my body. In order to ever do something like that, I'll have enough respect for my wife to say, hey, I'm going to be honest. We're in a place and it's not working. I think that it's best for us to go our separate ways. But I love you and I still want to keep contact with you. I still want to be a friend. I still have respect for you and I still admire you because not only did you teach me lessons, but you made me a better person and we did it successfully without disrespecting each other. That's where I'm at. And I realized that every situation, music industry, I could have signed a deal with QC 2 years ago. They tried to give me $50K. I looked at them and I said, fuck no, I'm worth 10 million. Right? I learned that it's a lesson that taught me that the music industry was not meant for me in that aspect. It's not meant for me to go sign a deal. I can't be a part of that. You cannot take something that I created beautifully. I got bangers. We talking about top chart pop records. But I'm not going to give it to you for $50,000. And then I'm your slave and you can manipulate what I do with my life. No, sir. It won't happen. So these are the things, like, these are all lessons. This conversation, we really just talking to ourselves. You talking to me and I'm talking to you. So, like, it's all synchronicity. It's all divine purpose. It's all a lesson. Once you learn the lesson, then you move to that next step.
Yeah.
The only way that I was able to get my wife and my son, I had to let go of my old ways. Having a son, I had to realize I had to step up as a man. Having my wife, I realized I got to be the one who answers that door when it's a million people knocking on my door trying to kill our family. That's what it is. Like, that's what people don't understand. We talk about masculinity. Being a father, being a man, you have to deal with the fear of being on that front line. Back to what we said. A leader leads from the front. Do you know how scary that is? Do you know how scary it is if there's police at my door trying to kick in my door to go answer that shit? I'm not sending my wife. I got to answer that, but that's scary. You know why it's scary? Because chances are something can happen and it would take me away from my family. But guess who has to do it? Me. And we all have to do that as leaders. Even if you're not the man and you're the mom or the wife or your husband's not there, or you still have to step up. And it sucks sometimes and it's scary. But once you accomplish that, bruh, you realize that that's your journey. My grandmother just died today.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I can't say that I'm sad because I never had the opportunity to truly get to know who she is. So me saying that I'm sad would be fake, right? But my mom called me and she said, I don't know what to do. The blame is, or everything falls on me. I gotta do it. And I said, Mom, you know what? That's a blessing. Because ain't nobody else was going to be able to do it. And I have to realize that when my mom's turn to cross over, to transcend, I got to be in that same position. And I'm thinking in my head, yeah, I appreciate my grandma. Rest in peace. I smoked a blunt with her. Nobody could say, like, not a lot of people could say that about their grandmas. But I could say this. Everything that my grandmother went through, everything that my mom went through and still goes through, has prepared me for who I'm going to be. Mm-hmm. And when it's my time to step up and bury my mom or cremate my mom, I'm going to wear it well. And I'm going to speak about all the great memories that I had with my mom, because it's not just the ending. She's going to continue to live through me. Mm-hmm. Same thing I tell my mom. You got to be thankful that you're put in that position, because not a lot of people can handle it. Not a lot of people can stand up here and do this shit. So with these type of situations, we have to learn them as lessons and continue to move forward, just like you said. Mm-hmm. So sorry, it was a little ranty.
No, that's
just what it is. Mm-hmm. It sucks. I hate being that poor me nigga now. I'm not that.
Yeah.
Every time I say, fuck it, I'm gonna do it because my son ain't gonna have to do it. My son ain't gonna be depressed trying to kill himself. My son ain't gonna have, and if he does, I'm gonna be the example, because I can show him, yo, this is when I was on drugs. Mm-hmm. These songs I have all right here about me trying to kill myself. It can be the soundtrack of your life so that you don't kill yourself.
See, it's deep. It's breaking the generational curses, the cycles, all the things. And it's like, you said something way earlier in the interview where, not even an interview, this is a sit down. This is a conversation. Convo. So you said something about, and as I'm talking about it, I lost it, but we're going to get it back. Talking to you alluded to this, and I remembered just to touch upon it. So when we get to a place in life where it's we are our parents' children, but we have to it becomes a point where you stop seeing your mom as your mom. Yes, you have the respect for her in that role, but you see her as a spiritual being, because we are all on this journey. And even though she may be older than you, not just your mom, your dad, your 70-year-old coworker, whatever, you know what I'm saying? That spiritual age and your physical age are not the same. You know what I'm saying? So it's having compassion for people on their journey, because it's we're all here again in our individual worlds, and we have no idea what it's like for anybody to experience what they're experiencing. And I think about this shit all the time. The way I see the color red may be how you see blue.
That's facts.
And we don't know, but it's just how we communicate to each other. This is what we see.
That's facts.
So it's man, nobody knows. You don't fucking know shit.
You don't. Hold on. Let's take a break. I'm about to,
spiritual ages. I mean, the color red, the blue, all that.
So that's the thing. When it comes to that spiritual age, is I stopped. My mom is not my mom. My dad is not my dad anymore. They're not daddy and mommy to me no more. These are men and women that I can relate to, but we're equal, right? I tell my dad all the time, bro, if you were to disrespect my wife, I'd kill you. Right? And he was like, you killed me. I'm like, you have to realize this. Just because you're my dad does not give you the power to disrespect my wife. Just because you're my mom. And I've had these issues. My mom tried to fight my wife one time when she was pregnant. And I told my mom, I said, if you put your hands on my wife, it's going to be a really big problem. It sucks, because I had to look in my mom's eyes as the person who birthed me and say, if you disrespect my wife, you put your hands on my wife, I'm going to have to kill you. That sucks. Say, I can't fathom my children saying that. But then I say this, I'll never disrespect my children. I'll never disrespect their significant other, breaking them generational curses.
Yeah. And a lot of times, we're taught, this to me, it fucked me up, right? I feel back in the day, right? And I look a lot younger than I am. I'm looking at this like it's a camera, and I look a lot younger than I am, but I got some, I'm
34.
I'm 32.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It's still youthful. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, but we still young as fuck. I'm a kid.
A baby, bro.
I don't care what y'all say. Them old ass people that was 30 and they was bald headed.
Bro, crazy.
Y'all, I don't know what y'all was doing.
Crazy. It's how you, I really believe it's how you treat people, how you treat yourself it's 19 Keys says this. It's like, I'm not a year older, I'm a year newer. I've never been this age before. You know what I'm saying? That bar really stuck with me. But bringing it back in, what was we saying? This always happens.
You said about your parents. I don't know.
I might be gone. It's a full circle moment. Hopefully, it's done.
But nah, I'm trying to think. Is there anything I want to touch on before we end? Because this has been a great conversation. Is there anything you want to share specifically?
I don't have anything specific. I feel like this is a very like
this
for
been
me.
Charged up. I feel like we gave them enough. We gave you guys bars.
I feel like we gave us bars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back and look at this shit for sure.
For sure. And I'm excited to pick back up and see what energy we bring in the tent. You know what I'm saying?
It's gonna be lit because we're gonna be outside.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So, anyways, y'all know how we do. At the end of the episode, I'll have everyone do it. And I told you before, so I need a quote of the day and a book.
You ain't telling me about the quote thing.
Yeah, I did. I did it.
No, you told me about the book.
Oh shoot!
Unless I misread it.
This text message has been bad.
All right. So my favorite quote all time, or just like quote of the day.
Whatever quote you want to have for today.
So the quote that comes to mind is. I was gonna repeat that Kanye bar you dropped, but no, I'm gonna give you one. This one is I forget who says this. I think her name's like Janice, but it's advice is something we ask for when we know the answer, but wish we didn't. Advice is something that we ask for when we already know the answers, but wish we didn't. So bringing it back to like, you got the answers up in here. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we try to, outsource, what we should do. Nobody has the answers for you. I promise you, not your mama, not your daddy, not the doctor. No one has the answers for you. I think we live in an era where it's, unfortunately, I can only talk from my experience, but I've been both, like a thinker and a consumer conformer. And it's like we're taught, certain things, certain habits, and we believe that this is what it is, right? So we think that people who have authority have the answers, or they don't. Nobody knows what this is. Nobody knows. People can really convince you that they do, but it's like, dog, we're out here experiencing this for ourselves. And I say this all the time too. I have a lot of things I keep in my Rolodex because it's like, this is really good for information just for me to tap back into. And I feel like remembering that you can forget, because I forget a lot of the shit that I'm saying, but remember, like on this journey, you can forget, where you are. Just remind yourself continuously of the why. Okay. The example that I'm about to give is, imagine taking a test. You're taking a test, right? You have all the answers. You don't know you have the answers, but you just got to start taking the test. Just got to start. But you're kind of anxious because you want to pass the test. You see, oh, girl over here, she's zooming through her test. She's going through the answers. She looks like she knows what she's doing. So, you peeking over, you don't trust yourself enough. So you're filling the answers. Boom, boom, boom. She turns in her test. Everybody else turns in their test. You turn in your test. Grades come back. She passes. Flying colors. Maybe she got a B. Whatever. She passes. You flunk. And you're like, how is this possible? Y'all had a completely different answer key the whole time.
Bars.
You know what I'm saying? And I always say, like, that's so embarrassing to leave this earth and base your whole experience on somebody else's path. Like, I don't know. I don't believe that we're here once. I believe, energy never dies. But in this experience, having the awareness of how powerful we are, I want to, again, maximize this situation. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, shit may not appear to be ideal, but I know that everything is working in my favor and it's all a part of the story. So I be telling people like what it is. I know what it is. I tell you what it is, and you're watching the journey unfold. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen because it's happening, because it already is.
Bars. And then your book?
Ooh, you said 2.
Yeah.
Okay, I got 2 books. And that's really hard because books, man, I've said this again. It's like these books, it's just different filters. It's like these authors saying a lot of the same thing just from their perspective. But there's this pocketbook called As a Man Thinketh.
I love that book.
It's such a good book. What, James Clear? No, that's not. That's Atomic Habits.
I have it in my book.
As a Man Thinketh, insert here. But basically, it's a quick read, and it just reminds you, like, you know, this world is going to show you what it is. You know what I'm saying? Everything that we've talked about, I'm sure you can find in that book, you know, and it's short. It's an easy, simple read. That's a book that I refer to pretty often. Can I say two more? Just two more?
Go ahead, do you?
Okay. Another pocketbook, right? The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, Deepak Chopra.
Yeah, my boy Deepak Chopra.
It's another quick read. Another quick read.
I read it. I think I need to read it again. I'm pretty sure I read it.
It's good. It's good. And I'm going to throw the last one in there, one that I haven't referenced today. I did, but it's a really good read. The Fifth Agreement. The Fifth Agreement.
Facts.
Really, really good. So, yeah, that's my...
Well, I mean, if you enjoyed this conversation, if you like everything that we talked about, share it with your friends, your family, your mom, your dog, your grandma, your cousins, anyone you love. And until next time, peace, love, and light. Big Swim. I'm on the way. I'm on the way. My vibration got too damn high. I got stuck in the clouds. I'm on the way. I'm on the way. My vibration got too high. I got stuck in the clouds.